Welcome everybody, welcome to my site, the tomb of EL-lumination. We're going to go over a few things today. I've got stacks and stacks of information and I can only do it by memory, so I want to release some of it now and get back to that stuff later. So you're going to have to put your thinking caps on because it's all about the Southern Hemisphere sun, how the Southern Hemisphere works as opposed to the Northern Hemisphere. Understanding there's two separate cycles. Okay? Now we'll go over what I've got on this board so I can scrub the board. I saved this board and the other board full of information for Jaren's show, which I was supposed to do last Friday, but I was pretty crook, a spinning head in that, so I want to get rid of that. What's on the boards, I've got plenty of other videos to do, so we'll go over what I've got here, then we'll scrub it, and then I can draw some more pictures to show you what I'm talking about, try and explain it a bit better. So with the flat earth system, you have to understand the duality. It's a split cell, it's a dual system. Okay, it's the first kingdom and the second kingdom with a middle kingdom. First kingdom being the north, because everything comes out of the north. The north has always been there as the Godhead, you can say. But then it was split. It split off like a cell. It split apart. That's the story of Adam and Eve. Atom is basically an atom, a dual system. And the story goes on, he was lonely because atom is representing the sun. So if you go back to the original sun of the flat earth system, which is over there, it's on the 2D plane. Here it is here actually. Think of it here, the 2D plane. Well, I'm going to have to go back to the other drawing. This is getting complicated. 1 second. This is the problem of trying to explain all this stuff to people. Very tricky. I mean, in my head, it's as clear as daylight. I mean, it's as simple as walking to that door behind the camera there. But apparently, nobody gets what I'm saying. So you've got to understand the flat earth system, what it looks like. If you're looking down on it, it's the Southern Hemisphere all the way around there with this big tropical gap. And that's the centre, that's the Northern Hemisphere in there. So you've got to understand there's two, and there's two systems. There's one system revolving around in the north and another system going around in the south. I've gone over this video in an earlier, I've gone over this board in an earlier video, so we won't spend too much time on it. But understand, we do not see the whole picture. All we see is your arc of horizon. Like this. You're always standing center, 90 degrees to your zenith. We see the sun come up and over your horizon, not below it. Okay? That's all you see. Because it's being projected from the center of the earth out to you. So as the sun comes around from the east, it goes up and over your horizon, then around it goes. It just keeps going. The sun in the middle always just keeps going. Okay? There's personal arc of horizon. Every man has one. We'll get into that more in another video. But it's understanding, you know, taking a slice of the earth and look back that way. So we take a slice of the pie, say, we take the bottom off, and we lay it over and we're looking straight through it like this. So you got the Southern Hemisphere out and all around here, and we're looking back through the tropics here, tropics there, and then you got a little bit of the centre north. So there's your centre north, there and there, those two there. Because right here, make that more obvious, there's the north, then you got the centre of creation, say there, which is in here. So two sides of the centre of creation, north, north, tropic, south, north, tropic, south. Okay, see it like that? Now, you've got to understand, so all up here is the northern hemisphere, right out to, say, Cancer. Or you could say the equator if you want. The equator. All the way across is all north, and it's the flat sky. That's the 2D plane that everything came from. Then it projected its 3D depth. Came off that 2D plane once the sun was illuminated up here. The original sun, which is male and female. Okay? So you go back to Adam and Eve's story, and it talks about Adam, male and female. Everything comes from here, starts from here. They're telling you the creation story. So it all starts from just a 2D flat plane, flat lined. Adam needed a partner. So what did they do? They took his rib. But the rib story is basically splitting the atom. Splitting the atom. There's a hyperboloid centre. Okay? So they took the whole rib cage. Just a rib. There's no missing rib in a male. Just to show you the split. Because he's male and female. So he took the female, and the female became the moon in the 3D projection, because once the sun was illuminated, you've got to imagine all this happened at once. The sun was illuminated by the friction in the whirlwind, whirlpool, whatever you want to imagine it as. The friction created the light, and then boom, it set this magical zone alive, the 3D depth. Via magnetism, been over all that. So the moon showed up over here. So this is the story of the mother and the father. And they're separated here, right? So when the moon wanders away, or the sun races ahead actually, leaves the moon behind, it's separated from the male. But it comes back, the sun comes around and catches up to the moon, which is down here, and they're both one again. They're both male and female again. It's just showing you the cycle. Because as it says in the good book, all the stars and everything are for signs. So they're showing you the system. But basically that's the separation of male and female. So as we're born into this physical world, we are separated. We go looking for our other partner, the other half. It's all described in here. So that's probably enough of that. I'll move on to the other page. So, okay, the split cell system, right? You've got to realise or imagine it in two states. It's a 3:2 ratio. Okay? This is the whole story of the Jesus baby, the head and the body. Because the sun is Christ. It's all about the sun, the moving of the seasons and all that. How they combine into one and then separate again, like we just talked about, the sun and the moon. This southern hemisphere slips under the northern hemisphere and comes out again. So you look at it that way as, horizontal, two planes meeting that way. But at the end of the day, it works like this. You could say you got the northern hemisphere like that, and then you've got the southern hemisphere like this. Okay? It just goes up and into the northern hemisphere June solstice, down and out. And once the magnetic field pops out to the south, then the sun is seen all the way around the south for a few weeks. So this is depicting it here, the two cells overlaying. And I've just dotted the blue one just to show you the 3:2 ratio. Okay, in reality, but stick to the 2 if you want. But realise it is a dual cell. It's parting, separating, and pops out. In other words, there's almost a disconnect here, which is and it all boils down to the sun's inner lemma. This point in here. This point here and here is this point here. Okay? So I'm going to go into a lot more of this design here in my Patreon. I'll describe this a bit more. Well, it's just realising the dual cell system, okay? It comes up and it goes out. Epicure showed the model that the sun did this over the year. Okay, so if we look at the northern hemisphere, the smaller central northern hemisphere, this is what happens. Its image is cast out because this is turning 24/7. Because that's a permanent rotation, there's always going to be a star trail, a circular star trail within minutes of you filming to seeing a star move a little bit. There's still all the other stars forming this circle because it's always projected from this very center core. Back at this core here, it's a vortex and it's turning. Okay, it winds down and then winds back up, winds down and back up. Well, down and up is a 24-hour cycle. Daily for the stars, but then you've got monthly for the sun. the moon. The moon's going around every day, but it does this S-curve over the month. So back here, the image is cast out from the dead centre. So the sun is in the centre here. There's the real sun, the unseen plasma sun. And I'm going to get into more of this in another video not long after this, describing all this. It all connects. So the one sun there is now out here, there, anywhere out here in the south. Okay? Or, if you like, it's anywhere out here in the north on those lines. Okay? Because it's going to get a bit complicated in a minute when I get into the southern hemisphere. But that's how the southern hemisphere this is how it works. It revolves around the north. There's always an image out here, no matter what. You know, there's an image all the way around. It has to be, because it's all projected from the centre. But you only see half the image. You can only do half the Earth at a time, because the sun is facing in the other direction, opposite direction. So you can't see the night side. It's day side. You only see the night side. It comes in and goes out. Realise this whole northern hemisphere sky is turning. One full rotation there, 360 degrees, sends an image slowly all the way around here. One full rotation, 360 degrees. But no matter where you are, you'll see an image because it's all projected from the centre. So whether you imagine it just starting here and going all the way around, or it's starting here, going all the way around, there's always a point out here it's starting at, or moving through. It's the mirrored effect. So now you come up to the southern hemisphere of our flat Earth. I want to scrub something off. We'll scrub this one off, okay? So you understand this? Up and in, June solstice, down and out, December solstice. When the sun is fully down and out in the ecliptic plane, because it's the ecliptic plane that's doing the flexing, which is up here, this thing here, the plane flexes down 23.4 degrees, but it also goes up like this, 23.4 to the June solstice. Okay, I'll take this off. And draw you the flat earth design. It's like this. That's the magnetic flux of a magnet. The 2D plane we all live on is in here. That's the 2D plane. That's the flux. Because Earth is like a magnet. It's like a ring magnet. There's the hole in the middle, the ring magnet. But no one talks about the tropical gap, the split, the dual cell. So because the flux curves down in the south like this, described in the Americana, 1958, how at 1300 feet they're hitting the firmament here, but further back, Mount, not Everest, someone mentioned Everest, I might have mistakenly said that, but Erebus, Mount Erebus is 13,000 feet at about 76 degrees minus south. Okay, so you can fly over it. You fly over that mountain, but you move to 85 degrees south, they're hitting the firmament at 1300 feet. Okay? And it curves down like this. So then you start investigating why it's called Sigma Octantis. When earlier on it was called, you got Polaris. You got Polaris in the north. Then you got out here in the south Polaris Australis. So they knew it was the same star, Polaris. This is the northern version, southern mirrored image, okay? But then they went and changed the name to Sigma Octantis, maybe to hide that from you. But then they always pick the right words because they know the whole system, they know the flat earth system. So they pick Octantis. So you look into the word Octantis, right? And straight away, simple people just go for the 8 and think of 8. But it's connected to quadrant. Go check it out. Quadrant being 1/4 part of something. Well, that's exactly what this curve is. It's 1/4, isn't it? There is 1/4 of a circle. 1/4 of a circle. Because that curved field, it creates the parabolic mirrored image of the north, mirrored out to here, cast back to the observer, to his horizon, to create a circle of stars here. He will always see this circle of stars. Yeah. Projected from this central circular rotation of stars. Or you'll see it, there'll be an alignment through there, otherwise this guy will see that slice of the pie, those rotations from there. This is the parabolic, this is the concave mirror that projects the image back to the observer, but it's inverted to this. So instead of us looking up and seeing all the stars in that pattern, we are now looking at it backwards, inside out, because that comes down and goes like that. Yeah, it goes down like that. That's right. We're now looking at the back. So when you look at the south, you're looking at the back of this, the whole design. It's flipped and it's more expanded. Out in the south, everything expands out towards the south. Okay, so understand that. So you look up this and you find it's quadrant. So it's 1/4. 1/4 of a circle. There's the quadrant. Okay. There's the quadrant. Now why is it like that? Because you've got to go back to man's arc of horizon again. Man stands centre. his horizon is 360 degrees around him, and then you've got to consider the 4 cardinal directions. So there's 1/4. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 4 parts to it, right? A quadrant. It all boils back to celestial navigation. If you want to research flat Earth's celestial navigation, you don't need to bring everything back to a ball. Okay? Celestial navigation is about just coming back to you standing on the flat plane. That's you. Everything comes back to you. Nobody could imagine that they lived on a spinning ball and everything goes back to the centre of their spinning ball. You've got to be a real fruitcake to think that. Okay? So, you've got the 4 quarters. But they're not silly, your science. They know all about the flat Earth. People who name these things. Because they understood the northern hemisphere. You're in the northern hemisphere. There's your 4 corners. But out here, there's 4 corners also. They're both different. So that's when you go back to the octant. It's a quarter of the octant. It talks about 1 slice of the 1/8. 1/8 slice of the round circle. But yeah, that's what they're showing you. For celestial navigation, you have to know this coordinate system, 4 there, and there's 4 in there. Okay? Different stars, because they're flipped. So that's showing you the curve, describing the curve system of this flat Earth, understanding that, understanding the splitting of the cell, and when it pops out like that, the sun is seen all the way around like this. Out south. We can go deeper. I'll have to go deeper to try and explain it to you. But probably not in this video because I've got too much other stuff on my mind. So it's come down and out, blobbed out like this, going up and in like this. One-eyed monster, see? That's the north, centre north vortex. And the sun is seen in many places, all out here, all the way around. Because the magnetic flux has been pushed out. Okay? So, a couple of things here to talk about. The sun goes around the north, but along the south. Okay, well in the Torah, I'm going to get into that in another video. Got a lot more information for that. In the Torah, it says something like, the sun goes around the north. Okay, let's draw another picture of that. Oh, there you go. The sun goes around the north. That's the Milky Way there. The sun goes around in the north because the true sun, the real plasma unseen sun, goes around in the north, turns in the north here. When we get an image coming around here, where we see it, we don't see it back at creation. We just see an image cast out around the north, okay? So they know it goes around in the north. But then they say, but along the south. They don't say around the south because it doesn't go around the south. Take that off. Because it's always projected from the centre. The sun's doing this. It's mirrored from the circular motion in here, it's mirrored there. So this sun is going around in a circle here. So they can't say it goes around the south. No. This is man's observation, his arc of horizon, that's all he sees. Okay? But with a star tracker, he can see those stars drift west. Maybe come in from the east. But if he's on a dead straight north to south on a meridian, that's a circular star rotation. This is where the sun comes from in the south. It comes from the south. Comes around and then goes back around that way. it's forever doing circles this way. Okay? So depending on where you are on the earth, you're always on a meridian line. That's your rotation. So the Telmet is describing it for you. The sun doesn't go around the south. There's the circles there. They can't. How can that be going around the south? But all the flat earthers have got the sun all going around the south, like yobbos. They don't want to listen to me for some reason. But I'm going to get into more detail of the Torah and the... What's the other one? The other Jewish book? Can't think of the minute. Can't remember. We're going to get more into that later. Let's go over a few things here. Understand this 3:2 ratio here. 3:2 ratio, or phi, or Plato's unequal divided line, which I've done a video on years ago. Divided line, or golden ratio. And you can refer to in Da Vinci's picture of the Mona Lisa in the back. Over on the right, it's got the Golden Bridge. Golden Bridge, hemispherical, bridging is the point, the Golden Gate, the Freemasons call it. This is the bridging, it's the Golden Gate, it's in there. It's the bridging between the two hemispheres. Okay? That's the parting. But there's a particular time of the year which is in that sun and the lemma. So there, it's the neckline. Okay? The sun and the lemma. I'll get into more of that, more detail on Patreon site and under Saints and my Floodgates videos if you're interested. Okay, so now, and as the magnetic field moves out, down and out, right out to there, okay, this motion here, the sun is getting sort of pushed, it's getting pushed out, it's being compressed. It's being compressed out, and then it released back up to the north. It's compression, and it's due to it's the vortex, the S cycle in the vortex. You should know by now that the heart is not a pump, it's a vortex. You unwind the heart and it's in a spiral. It's the pumping action within this thing. It's to do with getting water up through the rocks and everything up in some ancient water fountains. It's all to do with this sort of thing. Understanding this S, the pumping system, the vortex. So it's compressed to go out. It's like pushing down on a balloon. Everything, all the air pops out the bottom, and then you let it go back up again. We're talking about the magnetic field of Earth, okay? And the sun follows the pressure of the magnetic field. It's the flexing of the it's of the ecliptic plane also. You've got to imagine this plane flexing down and out, up and in. That's the magnetic field. It's the net. And the sun's image is seen on that. Don't forget, the sun we see is only an image. It's a focal point in the energy field. The real sun's back here and just stays up there doing a circle. Okay, excuse me. It projects its light out to show you the image we see. Okay, so it gets pushed out and then it comes back up. So there's way more to that because we see the sun go No, well, the sun, see in our winter period, the sun is seen further up here, isn't it? In declination. Think of your arc of horizon. The sun is, on the dome, and you're down in the south, let's say north direction. It's low up here in our winter, okay? It drifts back up here to the summit, doesn't it? Okay? Well, it's drifting back, it's coming out here. And that's how we get the sun all the way around the south, the Antarctic region. You're not getting the sun, it's all illuminated. You can say it's all illuminated out here. But man only sees this system here. This guy over here will see his system there, or there, or there. It's always there because it's all from in here, from that center point. It's a mirrored effect. Okay? It is hard to explain, but you only have to think and listen and go over this video again and again till you get it. Compression, retraction, retracted back up, compressed down. The vortex creates this. Understanding that everything turns in the one motion. There's only one central vortex of creation. Not all those flippin' stupid directions that your silly globe believers think about. There's only one. It's all within the central vortex of creation, right back in the centre of the earth. We can't get to it, okay? Now what's the globe? What's the globe doing there? Milky Way. Everything shrinks back to centre north. Everything expands equidistantly south relative to the observer, and in reverse back into the north. Everything is relative to the observer. Centre north or far south. Hence why the Mercator map shows you everything parallel. All the arcs of longitude are parallel. The Gleason map is just showing you the expansion, which is not relative to the observer, but they're just showing you the expansion. The model as it expands. You can't see it unless you're God looking down on the top. Okay. Golden Bridge. The bridging. It's the bridging. The whole religious story too. The actual equinox is interesting. The actual equinox is the actual equinox is equilibrium on the 6th day of September or March. Not the 23rd of September. That is not equilibrium. Not balanced. The magnetic field is not balanced. It is merely the halfway point in the yearly magnetic cycle, but not the balanced magnetic cycle. There's a balancing point here where the strength of the field becomes equal, because this is the strong on this image here. That is the strong force, okay, and this is the weak force down here. Weak force. But all that and this come together at a point here where it's equilibrium. It's balanced. And that's the whole religious story. Divine secrets are all there when it's balanced. Because it boils down to spirituality, which is man's heart and mind being one. Knowing the truth. The equinox is down here. That's just a midway point between the two solstices. It's not a balanced magnetic field. They don't tell you in science that a magnetic field is not balanced, do they? They say all the energy, at this end of the magnet's equal to this energy. Well, that's bullshit. It's a bigger cycle in the south and a little cycle up here. Okay? Goes like this. Done plenty of videos on that. Okay, understand that. All the magic, 6th day of September or March, thereabouts. So we've done that. Let's come over here. The ecliptic plane is the 2D realm. 2D creates the 3D. See, the sun's created there first. So when the mythological stories tell you that the moon wasn't there, well, that's right back at creation, when the moon hadn't split away from the sun. The female entity hadn't come away. They're just telling you the creation story of man. So because when all this happened, we instantly appeared as male and female. Okay? And all the religious stories about this guy here, the male, bringing his female entity alive back into him for a short period. Because that's pure, that's balance. When that goes back into there, at this point here, there's spiritual balance. Becomes one, a whole man, a divine entity, God-like, the whole meaning to life. This is the 3D realm here, created from the sun, that stays in the 2D plane, just doing circles. Okay? So this is a tricky one. So most, you know, a lot of flat earthers are just as ignorant as globies, eh? They can't get it. They don't want to get it. So telling them that that is the sun, the moon is the sun, that really freaks them out. But it's the female entity from the sun. It's the negative. It's the positive, it's the negative. Okay? So move along to some other information I've got. Spectroscopy. See, if this so-called wannabe scientist would come on my site. Let's back up a bit. Look at this. And people scoff that I don't know the flat earth system. Well, how come Victor Schroberger has got the exact same system here? It represents the northern hemisphere. One side of the, if you take a slice, chop their flat earth in half, because you've got the centre vortex here, right? So you've got another one of these images on the other side. So put the centre north here. Well, look at this. The magnetic field going over to the tropics. Drops down at Cancer. Comes up here from the Antarctica. Goes over and drops down at Capricorn. Exact same system. He knew. Just like I know. There's your energy system there. So this is why they have our free energy. They're not giving it to us. You see all that? I hope so. This is the way the magnetic field flows. Over, along the ground, then up here, over, down, along the ground, up and over, like this. That's the one side of the flat earth. The tropical gap goes all the way around the flat earth. So do these two. Basically a donut, but with a split through the centre here. Victor Schroberger. Okay. So time zones. They talk about time zones. Prove the Earth's flat, like on a Gleason type map, but no, time zones are just created for commerce purposes. Because whatever time it is up here, it's mirrored out here. Okay? I've shown that on plenty of other videos. If the magnetic field let's get that out of there, go back to the basics. Magnetic cycle come out of the north like this. There's the rest of the tropics. At the same time, mirror that out here, it comes out around like this. But we only see it in the east, which is around here, isn't it? East. We don't see it coming out of there. We see it more around here in the summer, in the southern summer, which is more proof that it does that circle, because it disappears way down there as well. So we can see all that cycle. You only have to look up at the night sky now if you live in the southern hemisphere. and see the flipping Milky Way. Because the Milky Way shows you the pattern. It's the same thing. At the moment, you see the Milky Way like this. You can't see the day side. But what's happened is it came out of the south during the day, and we see it appear here in the early evening, and it moves around like that. To go back like this, to do its circle, to marry in with that circle there. So if you want to go out and check, you'll see sigma octant, the crux. The crux out here, and the pointers. And they're pointed to the centre here, which is sigma octantis in the centre of the circle. Okay? And the system, at some point the crux will be here, and you're seeing it move around like this. That's what it does. It moves around in that circle. As the Milky Way turns, so does the crux, because the crux is in the Milky Way, the band of cloud. It's doing the circles like this. Get anyone in the southern hemisphere to go out and look on a clear night at the moment. It was perfect 2 nights ago, but I couldn't figure out how to film it with my new camera. I was taking star trails, but I haven't even got around to putting all that together yet. It so works with... What else have we got here? Yeah, I was watching a David Weiss video on someone else's channel, I think, and they're talking about electrostatics charge. A lot of guys like to bring up the electrostatic charge. Stronger than gravity, 10 to the power of 36. Well, this is where you've got to come back to this, how the energy of Earth is created. All the energy of Earth is created within the tropics here. This is the electrostatic charge. This friction going on here, between there, is the capacitor plates. All this is because our entire creation is about friction, the two-way system. You got the magnetic field flowing down there, magnetic field flowing down there, and you've got this neutral field coming up here with a strong force. Sorry, it's a weak force. The weak force and strong force are coming into the centre here, spinning around this, shooting over to feed the sun. Because in amongst this weak and strong, there's balance created, equilibrium, marrying. Okay? And that marrying, the equilibrium, creates the black hole. It's the state of rest. It's balance. The excess just keeps flowing in the magnetic field, but all the energy is being created here. That's your electrostatics in here, creating the electrical, eventually, once it gets back here to the sun, as it gets this earthing off here, the other female. So the magnetic field, they say, which is gravity, they say is weak compared to what's going on here. Well, of course, look, it's all Earth's energy has been created between the tropics. Obviously all metaphysical. Otherwise they would have figured it out by now. But then again, the guys at the top actually know it all. They're just keeping it all from us. Some science wannabes go on about spectroscopy, determining the distance to the stars, but really that just analyses the light within the stars, doesn't it? Not the distance to the stars, but one good way to figure out how far away the stars are is maybe through spectroscopy. Detect the star and set up your own similar system where you're reflecting a laser light into a mirror. and place the mirror at a certain distance, say a mile away or whatever, and use your scope, whatever the system is, spectroscopy, analyse what's going on with the light, different colours or whatever, in this laser beam hitting the mirror in association to a star, because the stars are only on your arc of horizon. They're only about 5k or 5 miles away, probably. There must be something there you can compare it with to prove that the stars aren't very far away. Other things flat earthers say is, why do we say gas has to be contained? No, well, see, that's just a mindset. If we realise if gas is dispersed, it finds its own resting state. But if it's kept in a container, obviously it stays contained. They're trying to tell us our atmosphere has to be shut in this container. And once again, you go back to Earth being a magnet. We survive in the flux. It's different pressure gradients before it reduces to nothing. The flux of the magnet. But we've got the bulk of the pressure is on the Earth near the the Earth level on the magnet. So, thinking this gas has to be contained is just rubbish. If we release gas, it disperses to find its own resting state. But if it's kept in a container, obviously it's going to be contained. All gases that come from Earth, off the Earth, or manipulated by man, eventually find their place in the inert gaseous layers of our ether. You've got 7 layers up there, different states of gas, gaseous pressure. But it gets so high, and everything up there gets funneled into the vacuum, the one vacuum pipe, which is the Milky Way. Milky Way pipe to get recycled back through the whole system. So it all comes up, it all gets pushed to here, the tropics, goes up to the vacuum pipe, because it comes around once a day. That's the vacuum pipe, the cleaner, with the sun at the end of it. We see the sun at this end of it. It's all being sucked over into the plasma, pure plasma sun, where it all just drips down as mist into the centre north, into the Beaufort Gaia. It's purified water. Everything. There's a French physicist back in the 1700s proved all this. Look, to be recycled back to water, its original state. All the gases, you can change them into many states as you like, but you can bring them all back to the same amount of water as you started with. It's a fact. A lot of flat earthers can't be bothered researching science or studying their own, studying for themselves. Here's another one here. Aristophanes, what a dude, has to have his sticks come back to the centre of the ball. See? His experiment, let's rub a bit of that off, shall we? Here's his ball Earth, but he thinks he's living out here, so his sticks have to be like this. All coming back to the centre of their ball. So there's a stick, there's a stick, there's a stick, there's a stick, or there's a stick. And then you've got to draw the rest of the ball down here for them. As if they all knew to bring everything back to the ball. So this is how they've reverse engineered everything, taken it from your modern science today has taken it all from the flat earth, and they're trying to create this ball here. And worked on the shadowing. So, I won't get into that, I haven't even got it on the top of my mind. Goes from Cyan to Alexandria or something or other. And like David Weiss says, what if it was a cloudy day and you're supposed to have walked it all out by steps? Have a little nap and then lose the step. Well, we might have written it down, but might get a bit confused. Oh, how many steps was that? Anyway, and all the shadowing, which is all rubbish, because it all boils back to man's arc of horizon. This guy way over here in Cyan, he's got his arc of horizon. The guy over here in Alexandria's got his own arc of horizon too. You can't parallax stars from two different locations on Earth. They're just not going to work. You cannot do it. He's seen from the centre of the universe, so is he. Just depending on which part of the circle he's in. Here's the centre. Where is he around the circle? They cannot determine the distance to a star, because at the end of the day the stars are just down here on his arc of horizon. So you're trying to say this guy's here, he looks up there, there's a star. So the star's over that side, so if he's here, that means, and the star's there on his, and he's way up there, he's in the east, then that star it's coming up in his morning, it's gone way down in his evening, so he's here. So he's now looking from him through the star on this angle. This guy's on a higher angle. It just, nothing works. You just got to use your mind, use your brain. It's ridiculous. What do I have here? So Aristophanes has to have his sticks come back to the centre of the ball. But take the bottom half of the ball off, what do you have? You have man's visual perspective, which is called man's arc of horizon. Everything is seen perpendicular from his arc back to him, back to the observer, okay? So everything is seen from perpendicular from the arc back to the observer. Everything passes over his horizon to go out of his horizon. Comes into his horizon, then comes over. Because it's all being projected back at the centre, cast out as it moves over his arc. Right, well that's basically what I had on my list. That's everything there, I think. Now, I hope you followed me there. It's a bit complicated, but it's just a change of mindset. You've all been indoctrinated, you've been fooled all your lives. You've got to understand this dual system. The split cell system contracts and it releases. Contracts, releases. We've got to try and understand why this is contracting. Maybe. Get to that. But as this is contracting like this, between the two fields like this, this is where we consider the sun to be, and this, you know, the ecliptic plane is in there, so the sun is moving in this gap here, okay? But really the sun is in many places. We all see a sun image within our arc of horizon, okay? It just gets pulled back to the south more in the southern summer, to be seen all the way around here for a short time, or around there like that. But you know, you go back to this, so there's two ways to look at it. Two planes like this, but really you need to come back and realise it's one like this, expansion and contraction, because it all comes from this S-curve of creation here. See? And notice how that goes that way, but that goes that way. It's inverted. The southern hemisphere, like I showed you the stars, are inverted to the north. Similar thing here. This takes you back to all the pyramids, what the pyramids are showing us. I go into more depth on my Patreon, all about that sort of thing. You know, I've put up quite a bit on YouTube, but I'm going into more depth. This stuff out on the board a week ago or so, and I've just lost it anyway. I haven't got a clear image of what I was trying to do there now. But later, a couple of days, I'm putting up a video that goes into more depth of stories from the Torah. The Torah. How the sun orbits the earth. And the Talmud. Talmud and the Torah. Okay? Be looking out for that. So yeah, thanks for watching. If you like this sort of thing, don't forget to subscribe. Put a likes up. If you don't understand it now, just go over it again. It's just a few things you need to just get in your head. The dual system. The mirroring from the north to the south. Understand what's happening in this mirroring effect. Understand parabolic mirrors. Concave mirrors. How they send the image back to the observer. Back here. Comes from here, hits that and comes back to the observer. Into his arc of horizon. The dual system. And sooner than later I'm going to do a whole board of all the revelations I've made over the last 5 years that no one had ever talked about. Okay, watch out for that one too. Check out my Patreon anyway. Thanks for watching. Catch you on the next one.